In the year 2047, humanity's biggest gamble began. A gamble not on war, not on conquest, but on dialogue. We coined it Operation Stellar, the day humans made a deal with aliens. This is our story. It started with a beep, a faint radio transmission picked up by the global array of deep space antennas. For years, scientists had scanned the skies, listened for a whisper from the cosmos. SETI Institute, national space agencies, private deep space observatories, all had hoped for a contact event. On August 12, 2047, the signal came. A repeating series of pulses, mathematically structured, unmistakably artificial. The world held its breath. Inside the observation bunker, Dr. Ran Patel leaned forward as the monitor glowed. The pattern was too regular to be natural. The message? Undeciphered at first, but behind every scientific eye lay the huge question: are we alone? For decades, humanity had operated under the shadow of possibility, that somewhere, out there, others might exist. First contact, as fiction had taught us, often came with warnings, allegories, unknowns. And now, we had something real.
Governments convened: the United Nations Security Council, the International Astronautical Federation, national governments, private corporations. The world was watching. On the one hand, excitement. On the other, fear. Would these beings be benevolent, hostile, curious, or simply uninterested? The studies of extraterrestrial contact had long warned of cultural shock. The larger the technological difference, the more disruptive the event. Media went into overdrive. Global markets trembled with uncertainty. Some religious leaders saw it as a sign. Some activists saw it as an existential threat. On social media, memes and hashtags exploded. Meanwhile, governments prepared a delegation. Not a military force, this was a diplomatic mission. A specially formed team: linguists, scientists, negotiators, military advisors, ethicists. They called the mission Stellar. Stellar Liaison and Alien Relations. The world waited.
It happened quietly. At 0314 UTC on September 3, 2047, a craft descended into the upper atmosphere near the Pacific. Radar picked it up. Craft geometry unlike anything Earth built. The delegation landed in a vast crater, remote and secure. Cameras rolled as the craft's hatch opened. The beings emerged, tall, slender, gray-silver skin that shimmered faintly under Earth's sunlight, eyes large, dark, unblinking. They kept their distance. They spoke, not with words at first, but via a modulation of tones, frequencies, a kind of musical cadence. Sound waves we could barely replicate. The delegation offered symbols of peace, flags, olive branch gestures, recordings of humanity's achievements, music, art, mathematics. The aliens responded, gently, with patterns of light and vibration. For hours, no treaty was signed, but the first handshake, a translator unit enabled the aliens to replicate some basic human language. We come, we exchange, we learn. From this moment, humanity's future shifted.
And then came the offer. The aliens called themselves the Virell. They came not as conquerors, but as seekers of knowledge and exchange. Their own world had solved many of the problems we still faced: energy, ecology, longevity, unity. But they lacked something: diversity of perspective, and they feared stagnation. Their proposal, a deal, Humanity would provide access to Earth's biosphere, cultural multiplicity, fresh insight. In exchange, the Virell would grant technology, knowledge, and a seat at a wider galactic community. The terms were extraordinary. We allow them a research station on the Moon, near the South Pole. They share their quantum plasma reactor design with humanity, under strict oversight. They introduce a universal translator for human languages. We become the first human world to join the Galactic Accord, the Virell's expansive network. In return, they maintain non-interference in human domestic affairs. They provide ecological remediation tech for Earth's most damaged zones. They commit to cultural exchange, archives of their history, art, philosophy. These terms were drafted in hours, debated in days, signed in October 2047.
But as the ink dried, the world fractured. There were celebrants, scientists, dreamers, leaders who saw this as dawn of a new era. There were skeptics, conspiracy theorists, fearful citizens, religious fundamentalists, and there were outright opponents, those who believed we had given away too much, our sovereignty, our future. Protests erupted in major cities. "Aliens don't bring peace, they bring puppets," shouted banners. Some claimed the translators were surveillance tools, others feared the reactor tech would escalate to weapons. Governments struggled to maintain order. On one hand, the Virell lived up to parts of their side of the bargain. Several ecological zones, once dead, glowed green again under their remediation tech. On the other, the quantum plasma reactor prototype sat in a secured facility while technologists debated its safety and ethics. In the UN halls, a new committee formed, Humanity and Extraterrestrial Relations. Hot debates over how much access to give, how to protect human interests, how to balance transparency with security. Humanity was no longer alone, but we were also more vulnerable.
By early 2048, the Moon facility was ready. Located near the Shackleton crater rim at the South Pole, the station Artemis Gateway housed both human and Virell researchers. Inside glass domes, habitats were built. Tunnels connected living quarters. The Virell's vessels sat silently, providing power and data links. Humans learned Virell methods. Virell studied Earth's biosphere remotely. Scientific discoveries began trickling in. New materials with resilience beyond anything Earth engineered. Biological systems that regenerated in days. Energy modules that cut waste emissions drastically. Yet also came the whispers. Who controlled the data? What surveillance existed? One technician joked, "It's like handing your diary to a guest who also brings the house keys." But overall, optimism. The Moon station became symbol. Humans reaching out, aliens responding. A bridge. Yet no grand leap comes without a cost. Within months, several major Earth institutions felt pressure. Fossil fuel industries collapsed faster than predicted. Some economies destabilized. Entire job sectors vanished or had to rapidly retrain. The Virell tech was powerful, but it disrupted. This echoed historical patterns. Contact between very different societies often leads to upheaval. Culturally, human identity shifted. Some felt awe, others felt irrelevance. Religions reinterpreted their dogmas. Philosophy classes asked, if we're part of a wider community, what does humanity mean? Anxiety spread. If the aliens are so advanced, what is our place? Politically, fractures deepened.
Nations argued over who held what rights in the agreement. The Virell insisted on dealing with a unified Earth authority, but Earth lacked it. On the moon station, a subtle tension. The Virell researchers moved fluidly. Human researchers sometimes felt like guests. The Virell's pace of work, their silent efficiency, made humans feel clumsy. One human scientist admitted they solve problems we didn't know we had. The bargain had been made, but the aftershocks began.
Then came the crisis. In late 2048, the quantum plasma reactor prototype went offline unexpectedly. A containment breach released a burst of energy. No lives lost, but damage to the facility. Earthside, public trust fell. Media cried sabotage, alien trickery, human incompetence. A task force determined the fault was human design error. But the Virell quietly expressed concern. The technology is delicate, and we are still in the learning curve. It triggered renegotiation. The original deal's fine print was ambiguous, non-interference in human affairs. Did that include oversight of reactor deployment? Seat at the galactic community? What rights and responsibilities did that entail? In March 2049, the second treaty was signed, the Stellar Protocols. They clarified, reactor tech would have a 5-year guarded deployment window. Human rights would be safeguarded with alien-human oversight. The Galactic Accord seat would be provisional until Earth passed a self-governance audit conducted by both humans and Virell. This second round of talks restored some faith, but the scoreboard was reset. Humanity learned a lesson. Deals with super-advanced partners carry risk and nuance.
By 2051, Earth looked different. Cities had begun integrating Virell-derived architecture, towers that cleaned air, systems that regenerated soil, smart energy grids humming silently. The moon station became a hub not just of research, but of cultural exchange. Virell art exhibits, human music festivals in lunar gravity. Education embraced this new era. Children learned basic Virell language. Universities offered Xeno-civilizations courses. Humanity's view of its place in the cosmos was forever shifted. On the flip side, geopolitical power balances had changed. Nations that leapt quickly into the new tech era surged. Those that resisted fell behind. The digital divide became an interplanetary divide. But despite all the change, the central fact remained. Humanity had committed to a path of partnership. Not subjugation, not conquest, exchange.
We must ask, what did we sacrifice? What did we gain? Ethically, the biggest question: can humanity remain sovereign while integrated into a broader galactic structure? Our values, freedom, dignity, pluralism, had to adapt. The Virell had a different history, different biology, different culture. Our deal demanded humility. In terms of identity, humans once imagined themselves as unique, alone. Now we know we are one branch among many. That awareness changes everything. Philosophy, religion, art, all had to respond. Technologically, yes, we got immense gains, but we also got vulnerability. With the reactor come new risks. With advanced knowledge come advanced responsibilities. Politically, global cooperation improved, but also global tension increased. Those left behind felt resentment. The Earth's nations had to evolve new frameworks. And finally,
What of the Virell? They too changed. They found humanity messy, unpredictable, and that unpredictability became a strength, not a flaw. In their community, human culture was exotic and valued.
So what is Operation Stellar? It is the moment when humanity said, "We will not hide. We will reach out." It is the moment when aliens answered, "We will not conquer. We will exchange." And yet, it is also a moment fraught with risk, ambiguity, hope, and fear. Because when you make a deal with beings who think in millennia, not decades, you must ask, are you ready? The day humans made a deal with aliens was not the end of history. It was the beginning of the next chapter. The skies no longer held only stars. They held possibility. And from that possibility, we stepped forward.